Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and today Apple released iOS 16 Beta 1. This is available to developers and will be available to public beta testers in July, according to Apple. This is a huge update, and along with this, Apple also released iPadOS 16 Beta 1, watchOS 9 Beta 1, tvOS 16 Beta 1, and macOS 13 Ventura Beta 1. Now, as far as supported devices, Apple did get rid of a bunch of device support, and the oldest phone that's supported is iPhone 8 and newer. So an iPhone 8, 8 Plus and newer, along with iPhone SE 2nd Gen and newer. Anything older than that, iPhone 6S, 6S Plus, SE, or iPhone 7, no longer has support. Now, this particular update also requires a separate beta profile if you're a beta tester. So if you want iOS 16 beta, you'll need to be a developer and have a separate beta profile in order to install that. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the build number and talk about what's new. So we'll go to Settings, then we'll go to General, then About. And as soon as we tap on the iOS version, it looks a little different. Tap on the iOS version, and now it says About this update. It's build number 20A5283P, and you'll see it says includes improvements and fixes for your phone. There's quite a few improvements, starting with a modem update, so that's been updated, and also there's a ton of features. So let's start with the lock screen. This is the biggest lock screen update in a long time. You can see the lock screen here. It's got the time on it, and it's got a couple widgets. This is completely customizable now. So I chose these widgets. This is the iOS 16 wallpaper, and as we unlock it, you'll see the lock icon completely fades out and disappears. I'll do that one more time and it just sort of disappears. We've got a larger font for the time, and if we scroll up, here we have all of the different things such as our notifications. They scroll up from the bottom now. You can scroll them back down, scroll them back up if you want to read them, or scroll them away. You'll also have different alerts and things here as well as you get live information. Now, if you want to fully customize this, press and hold. So we unlock, press and hold. So we'll wait for it to unlock here. We'll go back, press and hold. And now we have some customizations. We can have a weather customization. You can see this collections customization. We have an astronomy customization and much more. We can add new, and you'll see this is a completely new wallpaper picker. Now this is the same wallpaper picker you'll get in settings as well. And you can see there's some featured options here. So weather, collections, astronomy, color, emoji, pride, and then down here you have weather and astronomy, all sorts of different options, and you can see all of the different ones here. So some different options here for collections and different colors, and it's completely customizable. So tone, you'll see here, we can change the background color to whatever we want. Maybe we want a purple color. We can change the actual color of purple or green or orange or whatever you'd like. You can customize this. Once you have that selected, you can tap any area where there's a box and change that as well. So if we want the font color of the icon that shows or the time here, we can change that maybe to a contrasting blue color. Then change the font. You'll see all of the different things here and so on. We also have a little option to pick from different things such as different types of text, so Arabic Indic and much more. So you'll see all of those options here. Let's change that back so I can see it here. There we go. And again, we can change options for things at the top that it shows. So we can have our events, we can have our calendar, our clock, fitness, weather, stocks, and much more. So all of those things can be customized on the lock screen now. Also, you can add widgets here. So tap the plus and you can add any one of your widgets. So maybe you want to see your fitness activity, or maybe you want to see your watch battery. You can add that. If you don't want the weather, you can change it to something else. So maybe we'll go to home and we want this to be a button for maybe a sensor we have. You have those options as well. So all off for your lights. Now it's an interactive widget here telling you what it is. So that's all customizable directly on the lock screen. So if we hit done, we can just switch between them, and we can also set them and customize them with different focus modes. So if we want these to change throughout the day, maybe we go to work, we want this to switch to something different, we can do that by tapping on focus. Under focus mode, we can just have it associated with one we've already created. So you can see all the different focus modes here. So maybe I want this one associated with do not disturb, and it will switch to that when we're at do not disturb. If I want to change it throughout the day, it will change based on location or whatever I've set up for focus mode. So you can see it says do not disturb, and again, we can go into focus modes. We also can go into focus settings from here and customize it as well. So you'll see all of our focus settings, and they've updated this also with a new focus setup. So if we press the plus button, it makes it a little bit easier to customize a focus setup. I have a separate video on that when it came out with iOS 15. But if we go to custom, you can name your focus. We'll just type new here, and then you can completely customize it here. We'll hit next, and then it says new focus, and it gives more information as to what it does specifically. Turn on a custom lock screen or home page, schedule it to turn on automatically, or turn it on from the control center. So we can customize it to silence notifications, choose people, apps, customize the screens, have smart activation, and focus filters, which help you avoid distractions from apps or anything else. So focus filters is brand new. So now you can have a filter to say set selected mail accounts to either show or not show. You can have filters for low power mode or dark mode or messages and so on. So that's something brand new, where maybe a work focus filter would help you show tabs in Safari to see only things that do apply to work. So if we go into Safari, you'll see that we can have that here and choose a tab group specifically. Maybe I was searching for bathtub parts or something we want to work with on Apple. We can select that to only show when this focus mode is on. Only that tab group will show. It's highly customizable and completely new in iOS 16. Now, also on the lock screen, like I said, notifications roll in from the bottom now, and those notifications have something new as well called live activities. These can be from different applications showing you different things on your lock screen, and the only one that's available right now is music. So if we go into music, maybe I'll play a song here. We'll go back to the lock screen, and you'll see here's one for music. So we have this live activity, and it's showing what's going on with it. We can pause it, play it from here as well. And maybe we have a sports game we're watching, and we want sports scores updated. These can be here in the future where it's actually updating you with the sports score on the lock screen. So you can get updates if you're unable to watch it. That's something new in iOS 16. Now, like I said before, Wallpaper has been updated as well. Now, if I go into settings, you can notice at the top here as well, it's a little bit different where it shows family just under my name. So if you have family sharing turned on, that will show, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. But we also have some new options in settings. So in settings, if we go to wallpaper, the wallpaper picker is completely different. It's similar to that of when you're setting up the lock screen. So we can tap on one of these, the lock screen, and fully customize it here. We have some options at the bottom to disable depth effects and enable perspective zoom. So those are some options. We can cancel that and then also change the one that we have specifically for our home screen. Not only does it have the same sort of wallpaper that we have, we can also switch it to colors that match that wallpaper, or we can customize it further by tapping on photos. Under photos, we can select photos, search by people and album and more. So completely customizable and something brand new with the wallpaper picker. So that's updated as well. Also, something I think quite a few people will appreciate is the keyboard has been updated also. It now has haptic touch when you're pressing on different keys, similar to other operating systems. So if we go to our keyboard settings under sound and haptics, so we go to sound and haptics and then down to keyboard feedback, you'll see not only do we have a sound now we can turn on and off, but we also have haptic touch when we're typing. So when you're pressing different keys, it will change the actual feel of it. So you'll feel when you're pressing different keys on the keyboard. They feel all the same, but you can now have that option. So that's something completely different, and the keyboard gains a ton of additional language support for quick type and much more. Something else that has to do with settings that we'll see in the future has to do with software updates. When we check for a software update, we may have an update, but Apple has added something called rapid security response. Instead of pushing out a whole new update, they can give you important security improvements to your devices even faster. So they said that these improvements will be applied automatically between standard software updates. So no longer would we have maybe an iOS 16.1.1 just for security updates. They'll just push the updates in between to make sure your phone is up to date with security, instead of having to reinstall the entire operating system over and over and over. Within Messages, there's some big updates as well. If we go into Messages, we now have the option to undo or edit a message after we've sent it. So you'll see here, I said just doing a video on iOS 16. If I press and hold on that message, we can undo send for up to 15 minutes, and we can also edit the message, and it will edit it in real time. And you'll see here, it edits it We hit the check mark, and now it's updated on both my view and the person you sent it to. So we can now undo that message for up to 15 minutes or edit it for up to 15 minutes. You can also recover a deleted message for up to 30 minutes. Also, we can collaborate within messages by tapping on the icon and going to collaboration, and then collaborate between different things such as pages, numbers, Keynote, files, and much more, and third-party apps that would be available a little bit later to collaborate on as well. Also, there's some new Memoji in here also. So if we go into Memoji, let's go into Memoji here. We've got a bunch of new options. So not only are there additional Memoji type, there's also more sticker poses. So if we go down here, let's edit this one. We'll edit. We've got different sticker poses. We also have 17 new hairstyles. We have things such as more neutral lip color, more nose styles, new contact stickers, and new headwear. So all of these things have been updated with even more options than we had before. So headwear, one of them is a bonnet that's new. So if you want to add that, you can, and much more. So tons of different customization options here if you want to customize your Memoji. Also, there's some similar updates that are in Mail. Mail has gained some much wanted features, and if we go into Mail, within Mail, you can see here that we can send a new message based on a schedule. So press and hold the icon to send, and you can schedule it later. You can also undo a message you've just sent also, and you can also follow up on messages and move them to the top to easily follow up on them later, and set a reminder to follow up on that message. Search within Mail has been greatly improved as well, so it will correct typos when you're searching for it and also give you better smart search suggestions to help find what you're looking for a little bit better. Photos gets some major updates as well. It has built-in duplicate detection now. Also, visual lookup can recognize birds, insects, and statues, and one thing you can do that uses the neural engine, if we go in and maybe see something that it's already recognized as far as visual lookup, we can now press and hold that option to copy and paste it to somewhere else. So if we press and hold, you'll see I can just drag a cutout of what it is. So in this case, it's the World Trade Center and the Oculus in front of it. You'll see it just cuts it out of the photo altogether, and we can paste it somewhere else in different apps or wherever else we'd like. So that's something that's pretty impressive. We can also, if we edit a photo, we can copy and paste those different edits into different photos. So we have that option. If we want to maybe copy and paste something we've changed, we can now do that. So maybe we'll change the brilliance. There we go. And we have the option to copy the edits now once you change that. That's built into Photos now. You also have the option to sort things a little bit differently. So if you have a bunch of people, you can sort them alphabetically, which is something I'm surprised we haven't had before. And also there's updated memory types. You can also turn off featured content if you don't want that. And the biggest update has to do with iCloud Shared Photo Library. It allows you to share with up to 5 different people your entire photo library. You can select which photos based on the time they started or everything altogether. And you can even change a setting within the camera to allow you to share with different people you've shared with. So if you have a shared photo library, there will be an option where you can change if you want to share it or not, and you can just have it go to that shared photo library automatically. It also will share things with members that are nearby. If maybe you're together at a family reunion or maybe just a picnic, it will share anything you've taken together and share that automatically. Also within the shared photo library, everyone has the same permissions to edit, share, or delete the photo. So maybe you're sharing an album with someone, everyone has those same permissions and everyone will see those edits as well. The camera gets an update, a small update, but if you're in portrait mode, you can now have the option to blur the foreground in the portrait photos. And then also if you're using cinematic mode, so maybe you're in cinematic mode, this is improved with edge detection and much more for cinematic mode overall and its quality. Now also, if you're using FaceTime, this gets some big updates as well. You'll see I'm in a FaceTime call, and one of the things you can do now is hand off your FaceTime calls between devices. So you'll see up here in the upper left on the iPhone 11, if I tap on this icon, you'll see I have the option to switch to this device. You can do that on the iPad or seamlessly jump between the iPhone, iPad, Mac, or whatever you'd like. And I can switch here on the iPad. So if I switch, it doesn't seem to work 100%, but I am calling myself, so that can be a bit problematic at times. You also have the option for live captions on FaceTime calls. So if we go into the options here, we have live captions, and it's a beta, but you'll see here, it lets everyone in the call. You can add people here as well, but you'll see live captions are here, and they should translate what you're saying directly to text on the display at the same time. There's also a new collaboration button if you want to collaborate across different devices or different people. And then you also can SharePlay apps with different people. So if you want the SharePlay option, it'll show you different apps to SharePlay with that maybe you have installed. So if the app supports SharePlay, it will show you what's available. So all of those things are new within FaceTime. Spotlight Search gets an update as well. And as you can see here, we have a search button at the bottom of our home screen. You may have already noticed this. Tap on Search and you go right to Spotlight Search, or you can still pull down from the middle. So not a huge change there, just a little button for that. You also have improved Siri suggestions and then quick actions. In the future, so far this isn't working, but you'll be able to use Spotlight to quickly take action to start a timer, maybe find the name of a song with Shazam, run any shortcut and more. So there's improved search there, improved search within apps, and you can also start live activities such as a sports spotlight you're interested in directly from search. So if we type sports here, maybe you have a sports app, it will find that information and give you more information about that on your lock screen as well. Shortcuts gets a small update, so if you're using shortcuts, there's not a lot here, but you can now run shortcuts with Siri as soon as you install an app without any setup. So that may be a huge thing for many people. Now also going back to the keyboard, there's some major dictation updates as well. So if we go into messages, within the keyboard, you'll see that we have the dictation button, and this gets some major updates. So if I press the icon to just start dictating, you can see that it's now typing what I'm saying and doing that in real time like you had before. But at any time I can press the keyboard and just start typing. So I can type, and then as soon as I stop typing, it will continue listening and putting the dictation of what I'm saying directly in the box, period. You'll see it's also adding punctuation, and now I can add emoji by saying smiley emoji. It will add it directly just by speaking. So there's some major updates here, and then you can just stop it by pressing the button. So it's very simple. It's a huge update to dictation, and it works really well so far being in early beta. To go along with dictation, Siri also gets expanded offline functionality for home control, intercom, and voicemail, and you can now automatically send messages without confirmation in settings. So within settings, if you go to Siri and search, you have the option to turn off the confirmation. So automatically send messages, and now you can turn that on or off. So you can have it do that specific for headphones or CarPlay as well. Some changes there. You also have the option to add emoji to text messages like I just did with dictation. You can also hang up calls now with Siri, and also Siri can now more easily work in supported apps when third-party developers add it. So all of those things have been brought to the iPhone. Now live text is getting an update as well to be able to recognize text within video. Now I wasn't able to duplicate this. I tried it within Ted Lasso in some different scenes. Maybe it will work in the future, or maybe it's just not recognizing it yet. Either way, it should be coming to video very soon. And also there's quick actions within live text as well. So this is a photo from earlier with the About page. If I press and hold on the link here, it recognizes it's a link and I can open it up. So you have quick actions built right in, and there's a live text API for developers so they can more easily use that as well in their own apps. Now to go along with live text, you now have a camera option in the Translate app. So you have this camera option where you can use this to translate something it sees visually. So if it recognizes maybe a word here that we want to translate, maybe let's select English, let's translate that to French, and we'll see if we have the option working yet. It says tap the button to translate text. So I've tried to do this. Let's see if we can do this. And you have to sort of take a photo of it, it appears, and then it translates everything. So it does work within the Translate app. That's something they've added now. And they've also added new languages for Turkish, Thai, Vietnamese, Polish, Indonesian, and Dutch. So those options are here or will be showing up very soon. So those have been updated in the Translate app. Now the Wallet app gets some updates as well. I know a lot of people have been wanting digital ID in their location. So if we go into Wallet, so driver's license or state IDs are coming to 11 additional states according to Apple. Now the state or locale has to work with Apple to get this implemented. So that's something that's being updated. And once you have that, you'll also be able to securely present your ID to apps without sharing all the information. I don't have it available in my state as it's only available in Arizona and Maryland right now, but in the future, you'll be able to do that. You'll also be able to share keys more easily using messages, mail, or WhatsApp. And also Apple Pay Tap to Pay on iPhone is coming later this month, where you can use your phone to pay someone or have them pay you just by tapping the phone or getting close to it, just like you would at a register. Also, there's a new option called Pay Later. If you use your phone to buy something with your Apple Card, if you use your phone to pay with your Apple Card, later you'll be able to set up the option to pay in 4 monthly payments of the same amount without any additional interest. So that's something they've added. And they've also added a new icon at the top. You'll see there's a new icon at the top, and this allows you to track packages. So you can track your orders, and it will keep track of them if you bought them directly using Apple Pay. So all of those are coming to Wallet. Maps gets some updates as well. So if we go into Apple Maps, within Apple Maps, the additional details to cities are coming to many more countries very soon. And there's also multi-stop routing now within Maps. So when you want to get directions somewhere, you can add stops throughout those directions. You also have the option to see fares for transit directions. So if you have local transit where you live, maybe New York City, you can see the local fares for that trip that you actually planned there. So that's been updated within Maps. News gets an update where it will have more local news. And then under your following section, you have a favorite section now. There's also going to be a sports section in the future where you can follow your sports teams and scores. Those will be on the lock screen along with the Apple TV sports that you're following there as well. So in the TV app, that will present your sports section there. So if we go into TV, we'll go out of Ted Lasso, go back to Watch Now. This gets an update with more rich content at the top, and then you'll be able to follow your sports as well. Now, just like there was a big family sharing update to Photos, there's additional family sharing options within your phone. So if you'll see here at the top, go to Settings. At the top, there's Family now. At the top is My Family, but now it says Do More with Family. Update important information for each family member and review recommendations. You also have a family checklist now. So if we go into Family Checklist, under the Family Checklist, you can see it says Set Communication Limits. It's also saying Update Settings, Add Family to Medical ID, Share your location with family, Add Recovery Contact, and more. So it's giving you a checklist of things you could do on your phone that maybe you don't have set up already. This is super helpful if you have a family sharing account like I do. And then you can also set up an iPhone and iPad quickly for a child. Maybe you got a new iPad, you can bring it nearby, and instead of just setting it up as new, you can set it up for a specific child, carrying across all of the different settings you've already set up for parental controls. All of that will carry across under Family Settings. The Home app has been completely redone. So if we go into Home, you'll see here the overall look is completely different. So we have categories at the top, and then we also have our cameras, and we have a multi-view if we have more than one camera. Then we have scenes and much more at the bottom. So it looks completely different. Tap on one of the tabs at the top and it brings up the lights it's talking about. So it's a much better overall design, and I think it will be much better in the future as Apple is adding Matter support. Matter is a new standard that they're working with across Apple, Google, and others, such as Amazon, to make things integrate more seamlessly across your home. So we should see that with more encryption standards and more. So those are all new in the Home app and also on the iPad app as well, but I'll talk about everything new in the iPad in a separate video. Now, as far as privacy goes, they've updated that also. So if we go into privacy, go down to privacy and security, you'll see it looks pretty much the same. But there's now options to stream video directly from devices that support non-AirPlay streaming protocols without having to provide Bluetooth or local network permission. There's also a personal safety check as well. So if we go down here, you'll see we have a safety check. Safety check says protect your personal safety by staying aware of which people, apps, and devices have access to your information. This is something Apple has worked with to make sure that maybe you're in an abusive relationship and you need to reset. You can do that. So you'll see you have an emergency reset where it says immediately reset access for all people and apps and review your account security. You can also manage sharing and access, customize which people and apps can access your information, and review your account security. So you have all of that and more information about this as well. So that's something they talked a lot about in the WWDC keynote, where you can stop sharing your location, reset your privacy, sign out of iCloud on everything, restrict messages in FaceTime to just the device you're holding, and it can also lock hidden and recently deleted albums and photos. So maybe you need to get out of an abusive relationship, lock down everything, and just bring all of your information with you. You can do that with Safety Check. So that's something Apple touted largely in their WWDC keynote, and it's available in iOS 16. So it's great to see that. Now, in order to show you CarPlay, I have this CarPuride device here. We'll go ahead and plug in the iPhone. This is just for in-vehicle entertainment, and this should show us CarPlay. So now we have CarPlay, and it looks pretty much the same, and it will right now, but in the future it's going to get a major overhaul according to Apple. Now, current features that have been updated have to do with Siri being able to auto send messages just like it can on iOS 16, and also Podcast gets an update. Podcasts has a new library feature where you can more easily find what you're looking for. So that's been updated. There's also fueling and driving task apps as well. So let's go back home, and you'll see as we go through the different apps I have supported, you can use fueling and driving apps as well. So it's pretty much the same CarPlay now, but in the future, it gets a major update where all new CarPlay is coming later, and it will have integration with car's hardware. So it will have different widgets. It will power the whole instrument cluster in a car, have customized options, and more. Apple showed sort of an overview of this, but we won't see this in cars for a while. But as you can see, it looks pretty incredible, and it's fully customizable. So maybe this is what Apple's been working on instead of an Apple Car. They've been working on in-car entertainment, which makes a lot of sense. With iOS 16, Apple has updated their AirPods interface to make it easier to manage. So if we open up the AirPods here, wait for them to connect. They connected pretty quickly. Go to Settings. In Settings, if we go back to the main page, we now have the option for personalized spatial audio. So this is something new where we can get started and set this up. So we get started, and then we can use the iPhone to capture a high-resolution scan of your ear geometry for improved spatial audio on all your devices. So I'll do that a little bit later, but also we have a new option here that appears under your name in Settings when you have AirPods connected. Tap on that and you can see your AirPods. So you have everything from automatic ear detection and all your settings, your battery status, microphone, Find My, and more. So you have all of those things here, and it makes them very easy to use. So something that they've added, hopefully we'll have the update option when updates are available as well. Within the Health app, there's an update. So if we go into Health, it looks pretty much the same so far, but if we go to Browse, under Browse, we now have Medications. Medications can now be added so you can track them all in one place. You can set a schedule and get reminders, and then also learn about potential interactions. So maybe you add one medication, you add another, and maybe they have an interaction. The app will let you know. You can also share this information and now ask someone to share your information if you want them to. So you have that option built in. You could share it before, but now you can actually invite others to share your information. Also, if you want to add a medication, not only can you type it, but you can use your camera to do that as well. So if it recognizes the name, you can select it and then add it that way. Super simple. And then also to go along with Health, they have the Fitness app. Now, we've had fitness for quite some time, but now you can use it without having an Apple Watch. Before, you couldn't use it if you didn't have an Apple Watch. Now it's built in, and then you can use some of the features directly from the phone, such as walking, since it can sense motion, to use that on the phone if you don't have an Apple Watch yet. Or maybe you just don't want to wear a watch. You can use that directly on the phone. Within Safari, Safari has been updated to allow for shared tab groups in order for collaboration. So if you want to share a tab group, you can do that. And then also there's new passkeys to help replace passwords. This is something they've been working with the FIDO standard, and hopefully will be available more a little bit later. But it basically will allow you to sign in using Touch ID or Face ID to authenticate, and then that information can't be phished, and it's securely synced across devices. So they're transitioning away from passwords if the websites allow it. Also, tab groups can have different start pages now. There's shared tab groups, pinned tab groups, and then also website syncing settings. There's additional language support in Safari also for Turkish, Thai, Vietnamese, Polish, Indonesian, and Dutch. So all of those translations are available. Now within Safari, you also have additional options that go along with notes. Where we had quick notes on iPad before, you swipe from the corner, you can now send a quick note or take a quick note using the share icon. So tap on share and you'll see now we have the option to add to quick note. So we have that as well as options for the web page itself. Tap on the options and we now can send as an automatic, PDF, or web archive. So you have those options built right into Safari, but also that go along with Notes. You can also lock a note using your device password now. In Notes, you can see in the upper right, we have our options here. These are just my notes from WWDC. Tap the option and we can now lock the note right here. So we can now lock this note and then use the iPhone passcode or create a passcode. So that's something a little bit new. And then also there's some more sort options to make it easier to find notes. And then also you have the option to collaborate with a link. So even if someone doesn't necessarily have their iPhone with them, you can collaborate with a link instead. There's updated smart folders, and you can also group notes by day and then have filters that show today and yesterday references, and you can filter by all or some notes. So lots of different sorting options, and similarly, they've done the same thing in reminders. So reminders have very similar options as well with smart lists. You can save a template. So if we go in, we have a splash screen saying that we can pin your favorites list, create templates, and see what you've completed and more, where you can have different sorting options and even richer notes as well, where you can use underlines and more things like that we haven't been able to use before. So some simple updates, but very nice if you use those apps. Now there's a new stock widget and it's a 2-column widget. So not anything huge, but you have the option for 2 columns. And then within stocks, you have a few different options as well. So if we go into stocks, within stocks, we have the option to create multiple watch lists now. So you can edit the watch list and we can create different watch lists. So we have the option to add one here and create additional ones and much more. So not a huge update to stocks as well. We can also group by symbols or any criteria you want, and then also see updates for earning calls and things. So maybe you follow Apple, you want to see their earnings call, you can see more information about that. When they actually have their call, it'll show up here also. So not a ton of huge updates, but just some more usability updates. Now, unfortunately, music did not get a huge redesign. However, it can now keep track of your favorite artists with new music notifications and improved recommendations. So they were trying to improve the back end of music, but there's not anything that's extremely new in here. The design is pretty much the exact same thing. So hopefully we'll get some additional features later on. Maybe they can update it separately later. iOS 16 brings some major updates to accessibility. Now, we heard about these before from Apple's newsroom, where they announced different accessibility features such as controlling your watch with your iPhone and door detection and more. Those are now live in iOS 16. So if we go to settings, go down to accessibility, you'll see the first thing we have is a new option for Apple Watch mirroring. If we go into that, we can now mirror our Apple Watch on our iPhone. Now, my watch is not yet updated to watchOS 9, so it probably won't show up, but it's trying to connect and then we'll be able to control it from here. Also, if we go back, you'll see if we scroll down a little bit further, we have live captions in beta. So these will work within FaceTime or RTT, and then you can turn on live captions and it will listen and try and perform live captions in real time. This is probably why it didn't work earlier in FaceTime, as I didn't have it turned on. Also, we have sound recognition options where we can actually program it to listen to different sounds we customize. So custom appliance or doorbell, and you'll see we have that option here, or custom alarm even. If we have a different sounding alarm, other than fire, siren, or smoke, you can customize it here with sound recognition. There's buddy controller and much more. And I'll probably be covering these in a separate video, going over them one by one, but quite a few things we've heard about for a few weeks, with different things such as buddy controller, Siri pause time, voice controlled spelling mode, and the sound recognition updates I mentioned as well, and much more. So if you want me to cover those in a separate video, let me know in the comments below. Books has been updated with some new options. So if you listen to audiobooks, there's a new audiobook player, and then also a mini player so you can keep listening while maybe browsing other books. So maybe if we turn this one down, hit play, shrink that down, and then go to our library, you'll see it's still playing. And then we can go to maybe our user guide for iOS 12.3. Apple has added new theming options in books also, with an option in the bottom right. So we have, you'll see different pages here, of course, then themes and settings. And we have a calm theme and a focus theme. So it changes the background, and then we can change our font size. We also have additional options for font and different font options and much more. So we can fully customize our reading experience to be as comfortable as possible and just like we are used to or really like while reading. Now, if you're using the dictionary across the OS, that's been updated as well with 7 new bilingual dictionaries for Bangla English, Czech English, Finnish English, Hungarian English, Canada English, Malayalam English, and Turkish English. Hopefully I pronounced those properly, but those have been updated. If you're using iCloud Plus with Hide My Email, it's now integrated into the QuickType keyboard suggestions to make it easier to add when maybe you're adding it to an email. And you also have the option for custom domain names to be shared with people outside your family sharing group. Also, there's inclusive language support. So if you're using different languages, they've updated that. So if we go to language and region, if you're using different languages such as French, Italian, and Portuguese to make your device feel more personal, they've added the options to choose maybe feminine, masculine, or neutral. So that's something they've added here, as well as system language support for Bulgarian and Kazakh. Also, there's a new freeform app for collaboration, which is basically a notepad to allow you to interact with others that will be coming later this year. So right now it's not available. Within weather, they've updated it a little bit, so if you see the 10-day forecast, tap on it here. You can get more information about each day as far as rainfall and more for 10 different days. So you have hourly forecast for 10 days with more information locally as well. So lots of information here with wind and precipitation and more. So a small update to weather, but it's something a little bit nice. And so that's everything in iOS 16. Of course, there's probably more I haven't covered already, but that's tons and tons of updates, so I'll keep you updated with new features as I find them. Now, if you're wondering if you should install iOS 16 Beta 1, I would highly recommend against it unless you have a secondary device. Typically, it's very buggy, and at the time of this video, the phone is getting quite warm, so it's either processing a lot in the background or there's just a lot going on altogether. So tons of stuff going on in iOS 16 and tons of different updates. Let me know what your favorite feature is in iOS 16, and of course, if you'd like to get your hands on this iOS 16 wallpaper, I'll link it in the description like I normally do. If you haven't subscribed already though, please subscribe, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.